Hey everybody, Chris Wall here. Welcome to the Summer Read and Watch campaign for Wingfeather Saga, the animated series. It is time for episode 7. Yeah, we're already there. Season finale. Lots to think about in this episode. We got some special guests here. We're going to ask some really hard questions. Hopefully you've been able to join us this summer as we've gone through season 1 and 2. And if you want to follow along in the books, which we highly recommend, there is a QR code you can scan, and it'll give you a list of which chapters go to which episodes. Roughly. Sometimes they're a little different, but this will get you an idea of where we are in the story as we finish out season 2 in preparation for season 3. Season 3 is coming very soon, and we want to get you all set up for it. Of course, it just continues this amazing story, ending the second book of the series, North or Be Eaten. Well, I am so excited to be here today with our special guests and start talking about episode 7. So let's go around. Let's introduce yourself. Go ahead.
I'm Ruby.
I'm Lucy.
And I'm Emma.
And they have great questions. These are going to be really fun. You'll notice I don't have any questions in front of me. So I just got to figure it out as we go and be surprised. I haven't looked at their sheets much. Okay. All right. So who's got our first question today?
Okay. What did Jenner mean when he woke up from his dream and said, "I'm it"?
Yeah, it's a big shift for him. I think that, when he first learned in season 1 that he's a throne warden, right? Mm-hmm. And that it's his job to protect the king, to maybe someday Anira could be a kingdom again, right? Mm-hmm. So that's fallen. There's like a lot of stuff happening there. And he's really just started figuring this out. And I think the realization that Uncle Pete, Artham, who is the throne warden or has been, is gone. We don't know where he is. Well, we do as an audience, but Janner doesn't know where he is. He realizes it's on me. If I don't do something to change what's gone on, we're nothing's going to happen, right? And I think he really, in this kind of deep reflection in this episode, comes to the realization that I've got to do something here. I have a responsibility, right? I have a mission I've got to accomplish, and trying to save his brother, and kind of the fate of Anira is in his hands, is what he feels in that moment. And that comes down to just that simple phrase, right? So, yeah. All right, next question.
Okay, so Jenner almost gets caught stealing some apples, but then Wallace comes in and, saves the day. But what was his real motive? What do you think his real motive was for that?
It's an interesting question. I think that Wallace is probably someone who is doing this job, knows that he's gotten promoted to maintenance manager and it's what he should do, but it's also probably thinking, I don't love this, right? This is not good. And I think he's probably like, what other options are there? At the moment, there are no other options. This is how it is. So he's like, well, at least I can be a maintenance manager and maybe not be as cruel, as harsh, as bad as others. So maybe that's his version of kind of being. But then he sees Janner and he's like, maybe there's something else, right? Obviously, the seed that's being planted. There's a chapter called The Light That Was Left Behind or something like this, and we're going to get at that later about what the impact of Janner having been in this factory is, right? But Wallace is one of the guys that starts to kind of think about, maybe I could do things differently.
Yeah, Jenner gives him an apple, and how did you guys mean for that? Was it because it wasn't slop and it wasn't bread, or was it because he was going to try to bribe?
I think it's probably just, a bribe right away. It's like, hey, go be quiet, man. Don't tell anybody. So there's a little bit of that to kind of make it transactional. Because if he just said, oh, I see you have apples, and I'm just going to be like, peace out and let you through, that's not cool. He's not doing his job, so he needs to give him a little something, right? And just to keep their relationship straight.
But why do you think Wallace wanted it?
I don't know. Maybe he likes apples. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, they're all eating. They're eating a little bit better food. The maintenance managers are, but they aren't getting fruit. I don't think all that often. I think that's still reserved for just the overseer and Mobrick, right? I don't think they let. Maybe on occasion, special occasions,
Who is the little boy that helps Sarah lift the gate to let Jenner go through? Who is
that is Borley. Yeah. Borley's a very important character later, and we wanted to combine and make the decision of Sarah be very specific, right? That she's going to stay behind. In the books, it implies that she does it because she gets scared of kind of the outside world, and she doesn't want to leave. And I wanted to sharpen that up and say maybe her thinking is more about that guy right there. And so we had the gate needed 2 people to lift it, so we set really that up, And so, okay, there's a second person. If it's only one of us, it's going to fall, right? And then that other one being Borley, right, ends up being that guy. And so yeah, that was really important kind of lockdown for what's going to happen in season 3.
But also, going back to where they lift up the gate, in the book, I don't think they have like a wall around where they should be, but I don't know how Jana would think that she would come around and help and go with him when Borley's the only one to lift it up.
Yeah, I think he thought that Borley was going to be able to hold it, right? And they get through, and then obviously then it was like, uh-oh, hold on, this isn't working out. It wasn't a perfect plan. It was a good plan.
Yeah.
It's a good plan.
Sarah was probably sad that, like, she didn't go with him, but then also at the same time she wanted to stay there, probably because she probably made friends, like, friends sort of, that, and they need her, I guess.
To be there for.
Yeah.
Like after Janet made it through, Sarah was like, yes, and then Borley was like crying. It's like cool to see the different emotions from it.
I think
Because he
Borley
knew
wanted
he was
to
going to
go.
get in trouble.
Yeah, right,
Yeah.
exactly.
When Jana goes back to the burrow, he finds the actual place he's supposed to be. Nurgabog's there,
Yeah.
which is, I think, is cool how they bring her back into the story, even though you would think they would leave her behind. Like, you wouldn't mention her again in the book and the movie, but then when they bring her back, you're like, wait, I didn't know this was going to happen. So when she was in the Strander camp, she was trying to help them.
Yep.
And she came back and told everybody to leave too. Why do you think she helped Janner and not just Poto? Because she liked Poto. She didn't really care about Janner as much as she liked Poto. Why did she help Janner that much?
Yeah, what's her motivation? I think that she recognizes there's something special about this family, that they're just strong, they're good people, right? And a part of her is like, I want that to be in the world, right? In a way that's really kind of special. Nurgabog made a really big problem for us. So in the books, Nurgabog is kind of all-knowing in a way that doesn't work. So we had a huge problem in this episode figuring out the logistics of where she could be and not be, and what she could know and not know. So I challenge you, go back and read this section of the book, and you'll realize, oh, wait, this doesn't work out. Because in the books, she knows too much, but then doesn't know enough, right? And so we couldn't have her overlap with Merrily, because, of course, she would help Merrily,
Yeah.
right? But we had to have her overlap enough to know that Kalmar had gotten captured, right? But not that Merrily showed up, and had to also overlap the family to know they were leaving to go to the Ice Prairies.
Well, they probably, because she had the bags
Yep.
for Tink and
But
Janner,
but
so
she
they
couldn't
probably-
have the information that Kalmar had been captured.
If she'd been.
If she showed up in the burrow with the family and told them, "Oh, Kalmar's stuck in the cages at the Strander camp," Poto,
Well,
Nia,
she
and everyone
didn't-
would have just gone there.
He didn't.
Yeah.
She didn't know because they were still. They
But-
thought they were still together.
Right. So you see what I mean? Like she can't. She had to overlap the family, but not know that Kalmar was there, but also not also see Merrily, because otherwise she would just tell Poto and Nia, "Hey, he's over in the Strander camp," and they would just march over there and take him, right?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, she created a significant problem in the story for us of how she could be where she needed to be in the wrong and right times. You know, so
That's
yeah.
confusing.
Yeah, it got really messy really fast. That who knows what, when, and how. And this is what happens a lot of times when you're working from a book to a TV series, is that you kind of have to sort those things out. You know, the book can kind of move through it and you just kind of accept it. But so what Nurgabog could tell Janner when he does finally arrive is limited. We had to kind of bring it down.
Like
Um,
she asked, "Where's Tink?" Like, where is he?
yeah, because she can't know.
Yeah.
Because if she knew, right? Yeah, you get it. Yeah. So and then of course we wanted to have. This be a little bit comedic because Nurgabog's awesome, right? That,
Yeah.
that, you know, he's like, yeah, they let you some food. I ate that, you know?
Yeah.
She's great. And then her to also be sympathetic. You know, Janet's going through a really tough time, so to have someone that could actually be comforting to him, you know, and say, hey, I know it's been tough, you know, but you got to
But
keep
then-
on. You got to
but
keep
then
going.
Just
In the
Yeah.
books, they have an argument when they're in the burrow. She's like, aren't you going to go get your brother? He's like, no, he did that. I'm going to let him do that by himself. And then she convinces him to go and get his
Right.
brother,
Yeah.
but his brother wasn't there.
Yeah, and I didn't want another decision. We figure he's already made that. Again, it's kind of simplifying in our story. He's made that decision while he was in the Fork Factory, right? In the coffin box, that he's decided, even though my brother has probably done some things that he shouldn't have done, I'm still going to go for him. And so that if he had to make that decision again with Nurgabog, it just kind of gets.
And also that's when he learns that his parents went away, that his family went away without him. And he's like, they just left me?
Mm-hmm. That's pretty intense, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to definitely feel that moment of like, you can imagine if your parents said, hey, if you get lost, meet here at this spot, and you go there, and like, oh, your family already left. Whoa.
And then you're like, well, now I have to go through the ice prairies trying to find them.
By
Right.
myself.
Yeah.
Because she didn't know.
Yeah, and he has that conversation with Marilee. You
Yeah.
know, and of course she's like, yeah, whatever, man. I've been through worse, right? She kind of throws him off. It's like when you tell someone who's had a really hard life, about a hard thing you're experiencing, and they're like, whatever, your life is so easy. Like, okay, well, relatively, I guess.
Yeah, and that brings us to when he runs to the Strander camp and only finds Marilee there. In the movie, they have this huge face down with the Strander chief, and they just like fight him, and then they beat him, and then they run.
Yep.
But in the book, they get out and they hear them, and then they just run. They bolt out of there, and then they're like chasing after them, but they never actually find them.
Yep.
But why did you change it so that there's like a battle that they have to go through, basically?
Right. Yeah. Well, some of that is TV, right? So we wanted to have some obstacle, some fight, just to kind of, as we end this season 2 and this episode, some sort of energy, right, to it. Because, of course, getting out of the Fork Factory was a big deal, but that happened pretty early in the episode, so we wanted one kind of last something. It also, for me, was a critical time for Marilee to choose, right? So she's going to choose to not be a Strander this time, right? Or at least not a Strander of the East Bend, Claxton's clan. She's going to make a decision. And as we know from the bigger story, is she's never going to go back, right? It's a great story. I love her story, especially as it unfolds later in the books. And so I wanted to see that moment, right? Like, when is she deciding, Claxton, Dad, I'm not going to stand for this abusive relationship we're in, right?
But she never really called
She
him
wouldn't.
her father.
No.
She's like, your dad, and she's like, if you want to call him that,
Yeah,
but I don't.
No, and we see, later in the story, he's not good. He's really quite abusive, and so she would much rather be someplace else, and so makes this decision to then go with Janner. And she's a funny character because she's got the IOU kind of thing going on. And so she went to help Kalmar and then got herself stuck in the cage, right? But then, and so now Kalmar owes her one, right? And then Janner got her out, so now she owes Janner one, right? It's a funny thing. And so that's why she's going to make the choice to go with him, and also because she doesn't like Claxton. The fight scene with Claxton was interesting. We had a version where she beat him up really hard. Like, it was like even worse than what you saw her. And it was too far. It was like, okay, that's actually, we don't go that far. Let her get over him, and then steal the pwn, and so by stealing the pwn right in that moment when she's standing there, she could become the chief. Like, she could be the boss, right? Like, that's kind of cool. Like, come on.
To throw it.
And she's like, I don't want any of this, and throws it away.
She's like, this is too much, and she just throws it away.
Yeah, she's like, I'm done, and then leaves with Janner, of course.
Why did you make the pwn green when Poto said it was a yellow?
That was for
Growlfist. Yeah, the one he stole from Growlfist was yellow.
So they're different.
This is a different one. And we had fun imagining what Claxton's pwn would be, right?
Yeah.
And it's actually a daggerfish, I don't know if you saw it.
It kind of looked like a feather from Wingfeather. Like
Yeah.
The
shape of it?
Yeah. It was kinda
totally.
cool.
Yeah. That's a good one.
My favorite Marilee quote at the end of the episode is when she goes like, a story isn't finished till the teller says it is.
Mm-hmm.
And that was really cool just to see her say that. I don't know.
It's a great
just
idea
like, whoa.
because the idea that someone else is telling our story, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's a really interesting choice that all of us have to make, is that, am I the storyteller of my story, or is someone else telling my story and I'm a participant in that, right? And it's a big, weighty idea.
Like, why did you pick the song Carry the Fire for, like, the end of it?
Isn't that beautiful? I love that song. Mr. Peterson actually talks about this because that song, Carry the Fire, is one of his songs, right? And he wrote it in a similar space, right? Of like, how does someone carry on when things have gone just so badly? You know, how do they keep going in a story when the story has turned really sad, right? And so, so we got to redo that song.
Didn't they change it? Yeah, they changed it because it was a lot faster. They made
Yeah,
it
so
slower.
kind of redid how it's produced, right? You know, so it kind of made a special version, and it was just it was really fun to kind of, each season we like try to find a song that we can put in that kind of helps us understand the story a little differently, and we get to hear that, you know, as Janner and Merrily are setting off on their journey to the Ice Prairies through Newsonian Mountains, which is exactly where season 3 picks up. So I like literally when you finish watching this episode and then get to watch season 3, it's going to be at the same spot, right, where Merrily and Janner are as they head to the Ice Prairies. So, yeah. Awesome. Well, thanks for joining today. You have made it through the Read and Watch campaign for season 2. Thanks for tuning in for all of these. If you missed any one of them, they're on the YouTube channel. You can go back and find any of the episodes. If you have your own comments, please drop them in the comments here about changes from the books to the animated series. If there's stuff you're like, wait, why was that different? We'd love to keep the conversation going out there, and we'll see you there. Look for a quiz. So this is really fun. You can sign up and take our quiz, and if you get all the answers right, you can be entered to win one of these figurine sets. It'll be super fun. And we look forward to jumping in and sharing all about season 3. Y'all excited for season 3?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh man, it's you don't even know. It's going to be so awesome. Look forward to running through all those episodes with you and sharing in the rest of the story. So thanks, y'all, for joining today and asking all your hard questions. It's good to have you.
You too.
All right. See you next time. Thanks, y'all.